Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight it will be the stars and cars of the U.S. Open Wheel Championship. Not Challenge. Good Lord, what the hell am I talking about? Coming to you from Summit Point Motorsports Park, Summit Point, West Virginia, USA. My name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth, as always, by Mr. James Watson and Mr. Patrick Byrne. And I'll tell you what here, James, the last time we were at this place, we saw some wild stuff. A time before that, it was even crazier. I love Summit Point.
Oh my god, it's such an amazing track for this car. Like, it's impossible to have a bad race, especially when there's not a whole lot of passing opportunities, but we still see a lot of great moves. But because of how narrow it is and how tight it is, one little mistake could snowball into something major. Just think back to when we first came here and you had like half the field die in turn 4 on lap 1.
Yep, it was fantastic. And Bizzle, this is going to make your heart smile. Pete Halsmer still owns the track record here. 1 minute 12.2 in a 1989 Mercury Cougar XR7.
Yes, unfortunately, as an 89 Cougar, it's the MN platform. It's not a Fox body, but I'll still take it. I absolutely love that car. What was that? That was the Folgers car, wasn't it?
It might have been, actually. That is a really good call. I'm going to have to look into that one during the show here.
Absolutely beautiful machine, and they ran those, I believe those were 5-liter cars at that point in the XR7s. Either that or they were running a 6-cylinder with a blower on it, making absolutely wild horsepower, crazy noises coming out of that machine. That was the good days of GT racing. Those are the fun cars to watch at the historic shows.
Yes. Like you said, I love the cars, and this one's going to be fun. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in on YouTube and on Twitch. We really appreciate you hanging out with us here, and make sure you light up the comments and all that stuff tonight. As a reminder to our Twitch users, you are less than 7 days away from having to transfer over to our YouTube channel. Jeff Bezos and Twitch, well, quite frankly, suck with their terms of service, and they will outright ban you off the platform if you think about streaming multiple places. So we're going to take our business elsewhere. We will be keeping everything live on YouTube. Just check us out, youtube.com/National Racing Network. As the law firm, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth goes top of the board, 1 minute 4.848. Good lap there for Hazelworth. Carter Lundy, even faster, 1 minute 4.454. 7 cars have completed laps, now 9 getting laps completed, 22 on the entry list tonight.
See 22 and it didn't split.
Yeah, that's right. 22 and it did not split. I believe 24 is the number. Brian Labarge putting up a pretty decent lap. Let's take a look here and pick up Carter Lundy.
Might have some issues at lap traffic here tonight. This track is not a very large speedway to get her. I keep calling it a speedway. It is the exact opposite. This place is not a very fast track. It's a load of fun, but yeah, I think we're going to have some issues with lap traffic here.
We could have lap traffic, and quite frankly, it could make the battles absolutely spectacular, too, as Carter Lundy goes even faster on lap number 2. 1 minute 4.264.
Smashing the track record.
Yeah, about 8 seconds faster than Pete Halsmer's track record out in the real world. Lap number 2 for Everett Paddock. Good enough for second quick, but he's going to be about a third of a second back. See who's still completing laps here. We'll pick up number 15 of new name to the National Racing Network, Keenan Blades. He's slowing down off of the final corner. Joel Rafael Silva Lopez also working his final lap through the final corner. Down over the start-finish line. Lap number 2 for Lopez. Going to be good for 10th quick. 1 minute 5.716. We're going to pick this guy up just because I like the name. Benjamin Depew. Hopefully that's not what the motor does on that car tonight. Oh, man, a little bit of a lockup there into turn 1.
The tires went Depew.
That joke's going to get so old so fast.
You mean it already hasn't?
Well, we're working on it. A lot of jokes that are just bad and getting old, but that's neither here nor there.
The NRN way.
Another big lockup there for Depew. Robert Holmes looks like he is done with his qualifying attempt. Marshall Crocker has not gotten out onto the racetrack yet. 19 cars working their qualification attempts. Let's pick up AJ Camargo. He is currently 12th quick and working his second and final qualification lap. Quick check of the point standings heading into tonight's race. Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, currently your points leader, but he has 2 weeks counted already. So the numbers are going to be a little bit off here. David Porcelli, 1 start, 1 win, picking up the win last week to kick off the season. He is, oh God, I can't do math either. Yeah, we'll say a few points back of Hazelworth. It's 221 to 209. As we are down to almost the final minute and a half in qualifying. Camargo down over the start-finish line, and his second lap will be good for 12th quick. 1 minute 5.866 seconds. And we'll pick up Benjamin Depew as he's getting ready to finish his qualification run here. Oh, way off the racetrack in the final corner.
Oh.
That means the lap's going to be no dice.
I believe he works for Tony Kanaan. They had missed a spot here before the race started.
I see what you did there, Bizzle. Let's take a look. See, nobody checking any of the comments yet either. Gosh, y'all are quiet tonight. Down to the final 30 seconds in qualifications. And it looks like nobody else will be able to get a lap on the board. So Carter Lundy will be your pole sitter for tonight's race. This one looks to be, let's see, you got to pull the schedule up here to see how many laps we're going to run for this one. But
a handful.
More
than 10, but probably less than 30.
That is exactly right. 23 laps will be the race distance here tonight, coming off a race last week at Road Atlanta. Next week, heading off to the Red Bull Ring, the streets of Belle Isle, Detroit, followed by Suzuka to complete the top 5 halfway through the season. We head off to Iowa Speedway for one of the 2 oval rounds this season. As the cars are getting ready to head out on to the starting grid, let's show you tonight's starting lineup for the U.S. Open Wheel C-Class Championship Strength of Field race. Carter Lundy in the players' colors, carrying the number 1 tonight, will be your pole sitter with a lap time of 1 minute 4.261. Everett Paddock, second quick on the grid, 0.3 of a second back, driving for TNT Racing. Row number 2 will have David Porcelli lining up alongside of Mobin Khan. Row 3, the law firm, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, alongside the NASA meatball of Brian Labarge. Another good showing for Labarge. He will be car number 9 here this evening, so the I rating starting to creep up there for Brian as well. The 4 of Nicholas Daly will start 7th, inside of row number 4, alongside the Citizens Climate Lobby, number 8 of Mike Holler. Richard Holt in the target lightning bolts on the inside of row number 5, alongside the Philadelphia Flyers number 7 of Rod Eskew. Rod, you are getting so much darn coverage tonight. The only thing that car's missing is a big gritty on the side of it. That is beautiful. Joao Rafael Silva Lopez.
That is the worst painted car in this field. We need somebody to go out there in an Islanders car.
God
I will
almighty.
pay to have that commissioned. I'll give some.
There we go. We'll shut him up. Joao Rafael Silva Lopez lining up alongside AJ Camargo.
What we really,
holy crap!
What we really
awesome.
need. What we really need is the San Jose Sharks car to bring up the rear at the back.
That would be absolutely correct.
Pain.
Keenan Blades lining up alongside of Kyle Cushman on row number 7. Row 8 will have Christopher Gunn in the Caterpillar colors alongside the Oreo number 21 of Joseph Berger. Aaron Saliba in car number 19 on the inside of row number 9 alongside the 14 of Benjamin Depew. Row number 10, a Formula One McLaren livery. That's Thomas Bricky alongside of Carl Giangrande. Marshall Crocker in another Formula One livery. This one a Williams alongside the 22 of Robert Holmes, rounding out our 22 car field here this evening. I'll tell you what, James, with a lot of new names, a lot of new faces, almost feels like if you're the leaders, your biggest concern here is get away clean, maybe even single file it out into turn 1, just so you don't get run over in any possible carnage coming from behind.
Yeah, because the kink in turn 3 is not an easy corner to maneuver on cold tires. And then getting into turn 4 on the hairpin, that's where we saw the calamity here way back when. So, like you said, your best bet is to just get the power down and get away from everyone as fast as possible.
Flip side of that coin, Bizzle, absolutely go like a bat out of hell through this little tight section here. This is where James mentioned we saw those issues in the past. You can make up a lot of ground in a lot of positions if you do something borderline dumb here on lap 1.
Oh, yeah. And especially this track rewards having the biggest nuts. Just to put it very plainly, going through turn 1, you can absolutely send it way deep, run the car all the way out wide if the track's open enough for you to get there, and pretty much nail it wide open all the way to the real slow section. If you're willing to take the risk, it's very easy to push wide. This circuit is incredibly narrow.
On board with Carter Lundy as we'll see the iRacing safety car make the hard right-hand turn onto pit lane, and they will be under the control of car number 1. Long way down towards the start-finish line here, but Lundy quickly on the gas. Green flags out. We're underway here at Summit Point. Lundy's going to carry a huge roll of steam into turn number 1.
And these two being side by side in the 1, that's just going to extend Lundy's gap even more.
Looks like the front half of the field or so will get through cleanly. Lundy not totally able to check out, though, as Everett Paddock holding on to second. He is going to have David Porcelli, Mobin Khan, and Alexander Wesley Hazelworth all right there. Trouble on the racetrack. Looks like Keenan Blades, Joseph Berger going to be involved. A little bit of early race shenanigans. Let's take a look at the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay. See what happened here a little bit deeper in the pack.
Oh.
Well, it looks like Blades went around first. Berger just had to grab the brakes big time. He slides off the racetrack. Now Berger having that look on Thomas Bricky. Everybody towards the front of the field pretty well separated out. We'll pick up the battle here between Brian LaBarge, Mike Collar, and Richard Holt. They're fighting for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Oh, Porcelli maybe having a look here on Everett Paddock. Possibly more trouble for Robert Holmes. He's going to be out towards the back of the pack. Oh, Benjamin Depew also having an issue. We saw him. He was off in the grass somewhere here. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, another big lockup. He slides it off. Going to be no harm, no foul. Get the car righted up, and look what we got here at the head of the field. Everett Paddock inside of Carter Lundy for the lead.
Carter looking for that crossover.
Oh, man, he thought about the switch back there. That's where all the carnage sort of started to happen the last time we were here. It was actually, no, it was right in here. It's just not a smart place to attempt to pass. Lundy already low. Looks like he's starting to set up that move down the front straightaway.
Yeah, and there's not a ton of passing opportunities here, but there's a lot of places where you can really scare your opponent in front of you and make them start checking their mirrors a little more than they were and getting them to run wide. I've made some huge moves here in the final corner just by sitting on someone's gearbox and letting them run wide into that sandbox over there.
Now Lundy's going to get the move made, but it will not happen before the start-finish line. As David Porcelli sets a new fastest lap of the race. Lundy gets that pass completed on the outside before they even get to turn one.
David's just sitting back there watching the fireworks.
Trouble for Aaron Saliba. Take a look and see what happened to him. A little bit too much curb, slides it off the racetrack. Very slow to get up to speed. Back up at the head of the line. Lundy checking out ever so slightly. The gap at 4.5 tenths. Everybody getting little Luke Bryan going there, kicking the dust up at the final corner.
And another huge draft by Paddock. He looked like he wanted to try it in the one, but kind of just stepped on the binders a little bit, let him go another lap.
Nicholas Daly running back here in the 5th position, just set a new fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 4.942. Mobin Khan also getting a great draft off of these guys.
Yeah, I was going to say something about Mobin Khan, but knowing my track record, I'm just going to stay silent.
Yeah, last time I was on the air with you and you talked nicely about him, he had a big issue.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. I'm thinking maybe if I start talking about him crashing, the opposite might happen. So yeah, I'm predicting he's going to go off in turn 1. If he goes off into turn 1, then I don't know what I'm going to do at this point.
Wow, Porcelli with a huge dive. He almost got into the back of Everett Paddock. Taking the draft down the straightaway. He's going to run wide out of 2. Paddock not able to capitalize. Now Porcelli going to go to work trying to pick off Carter Lundy. Kind of interesting to see Porcelli running a little bit different lines. We've seen him do that in the past, and it's been enough to at least get Carter Lundy thinking. And sometimes with a younger kid like Carter there, Patrick, that can be all it takes to force a mistake. I mean, Carter's good, but he's not mistake-proof.
No, especially, he's still fairly new. I don't want to call him a rookie, but in the way he races, his racecraft is still very rookie-like. So he is not immune from making mistakes, and frankly makes quite a lot of them. He just doesn't have a hard time recovering from them, as you or I might.
Yeah, that's the difference between Carter and, well, me, is I let a mistake eat at me, and it screws up not just the next couple of corners, but the next couple of races. James, that's something that, as a driver, you just have to learn to let go of the mistake, recover, and then go back on the attack.
Yeah, I've talked about it multiple times, the best drivers, it's not that they don't make mistakes, is that they know how to limit the damage. They know how to go, oh, okay, I've screwed up this corner, this is how I can maximize my run out of it, and this is how I can make sure this doesn't happen again in the next corner or the corner after it. Oh my god, are they 3 wide? Oh,
Three wide for the race lead down the front stretch. Everett Paddock's gonna have it.
Oh my, and everyone else is joining the party. Oh, good god.
It's not 3 cars battling for the lead, it's 6 battling for the lead. Less than a second separating first place Everett Paddock from 6th place Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. I am here for all the dumb these guys want to try to pull off tonight.
This is going to end so bad, and I'm so here for it. Someone's going to end up in the grass.
Allegedly.
At least it's not Moven Khan yet. I haven't jinxed him yet. Let's go.
These guys are using up absolutely every single inch of this track.
Yeah, they are definitely not screwing around.
It's a good thing track limits are lenient around here. Otherwise, they might get DQ'd at this rate.
Porcelli going to be looking to get the huge draft down the front straightaway this time. Let's see if he can make the move and if London can catch up to them. So I see some lap traffic up there trying to spread it over into the mix.
Yeah, and the more that these guys battle, the more it's going to catch everybody up as Porcelli and Paddock stay 2 wide through turn 2. Lundy doesn't really have anywhere to go in the middle of this fight. Let's go on board with Carter Lundy.
You can see just how blind all of these corners are.
Man, that was ballsy where he was sticking his nose.
Phrasing.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. There's lap traffic.
Made quick work of the lap traffic.
Yeah, he did a great job. Stay out of the way.
I'll tell you what, Patrick, we've talked about this before. Lundy's hands are so, some would say fast, I would say twitchy on the steering wheel. It's absolutely crazy how fast he moves that wheel.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time, how smooth all of the fast guys are. And then Carter Lundy comes here, kind of like Ayrton Senna used to drive, just absolutely balls to the wall, shaking that wheel all around, kind of jerking it all over the place. Look how smoothly Paddock just guides the wheel in, brings it back to straight.
Phrasing again.
Yeah, you can see there's like a progressive curve to how he accelerates the wheel. And then you look at Lundy, and it's just like send it into the corner and bring it to full lock real quick and bring it back straight.
Even there, managing that rear oversteer, he's doing it with the foot, not the hands. And really, that's how you have to do it.
Yeah, if I would have to say it, Everett Paddock's movements are very, very analog, where Carter Lundy's movements are very digital, very kind of on-off, on-off, on-off. Just moving the wheel, almost like he's bumping it, playing with the controller. But I've seen his setup, and I'm kind of jealous of his wheel. So
yeah, no kidding.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say that's almost like the kind of inputs you would get if you were using like an Xbox controller or something like that.
If it's good enough for a submarine, it's got to be good enough for a pretend race car.
Lord.
I don't think it was good enough for a submarine.
I don't think the Xbox controller was the problem.
Anyway.
Holy crap. David Porcelli holds on to the race lead over Everett Paddock, Carter Lundy, Nicholas Daly, and Alexander Wesley Hazelworth.
Lundy with another huge run. He might try and make this one a 2-for-1 special going into turn number 1. He's not quite close enough to Porcelli just yet.
I'll tell you what, though, these guys playing nicely even has caught some of the pack back up. Mobin Khan is going to be right there. Even Mike Holler up in 7th. Let's give Mike a shout here. We haven't talked enough about him over the last couple of weeks. Nice run up to 7th. He's within draft range of Mobin Khan now. This is one of those guys that if you give him a chance, he's going to make something happen of it. And of late, especially last season, it seemed like just flat out terrible luck catching up with him most of the season.
Yeah, if I didn't know any better, he had the unlucky horseshoe or something. Like, if a meteor would hit the track, it would land right on his car.
Well, you know what they say about a lucky rabbit's foot? Well, a rabbit has 4 feet, so you got to get the luck from somewhere, and he got the unlucky rabbit's foot.
Oh, you are all over it tonight, buddy.
Well, all 4 of them can't be lucky feet.
This is the hard-hitting commentary you come here for, folks.
Yeah. Holy crap. What a show. David Porcelli continues to hold on to the lead over Lundy. Good Lord. Back end, all sorts of twitchy under acceleration there for Lundy.
I think that's the way he likes to drive these things, though. It's very similar to the way I like to drive these things. His driving almost reminds me of myself on some of the ovals, where you're getting the car maybe 20 degrees of slip coming out of the corner, and you quickly jerk the wheel to the right and bring it right back to center. And I'm a very save the car with the wheel kind of guy. I'm not so much a save it with the throttle.
Oh,
as Lundy's going to try it on the outside this time.
Big Pruitt fade there from David Porcelli. Live stewarding, that might have been a warning. That's something iRacing needs to give us. One SOF race a week where the 3 of us get to commentate and admin from the booth.
Are you mad?
Oh, and Lundy gets in the back of him.
He gave him a shove. That was a Teddy Christopher bump.
He's got to go down pit lane for avoidable contact for that one. And Watson, I don't think that's a terrible idea. You do realize who admined the last half of the TNT season from the booth. There were no problems. Wasn't like Fast Masters where I kept accidentally hitting the caution button.
That's like saying, but did you die?
Yeah, but the implication. Also, yeah, it was definitely you that hit the caution button. Yeah, definitely.
I got it on video with you.
I have no idea what you're talking about, good sir.
So we got a race on our hands once
yeah.
again. Lundy is all over the rear end of that number 2 car.
I'll tell you what, we're down to 8 laps to go here. Lundy's going to back out now. He's not going to back out. And quite frankly, I don't think he's going to give Porcelli the opportunity to fade him like that on the straightaway the later we get in this race.
No, Lundy's going to be all over it. Lundy's going to probably do what he usually does and wait till the white flag to kind of reveal his cards. He's been toying with Porcelli the whole race, as he always does. And he's going to wait to pull the ace out of his sleeve and go and get the win.
Mike Holler not making up any ground now on Mobin Khan. In fact, he's about 2 seconds back. So looks like it'll be a 6-car shootout here for the race win. As Khan having a little bit of a look on Hazelworth, a little bit further back, but we're going to keep our eyes here on the front too. I think Porcelli knows he can't let Lundy make that pass going into turn 1, because by the time they get to turn 4, that's where Lundy is significantly quicker than Porcelli is. So if he's going to make the pass after that, good on him. But you can't give him the shot to take the lead and a big time gap going into that corner.
Yeah, Lundy's going to try
Porcelli's trying to shove him wide.
Oh, almost contact between the cars once again.
Oh, they do touch. What a save by Porcelli.
Saved it.
Wow.
See how sideways that car was.
Oh my god.
Now we'll see if Lundy's able to open the gap up. Yeah, there you can see it. It's already up to a half second as they come out of the twisty bits. Porcelli's going to have a run to turn 1 here with 5 to go, but it's not going to be the same type of run that Carter Lundy has had the last few laps. Mobin Khan, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth side by side, battle for the 5th position. The big difference I think we're going to see here, James, when we think a little bit ahead here to the D-Class race coming up in just a little bit, you can't have those little momentum bobbles in the USF car that you can get away with in the PM18. It's really going to be critical for these guys to be absolutely mark perfect every time.
Oh yeah, there's still long enough straights to where if you lose your momentum, you're just hemorrhaging time. The draft will help you, but it's only going to do so much when we get into past turn 1. Oh!
Little bit of a lockup. Lundy and Porcelli back to being side by side for the lead. They're 2 by 2 for a couple of rows.
Porcelli backs out of it, looking for the crossover. He's going to have the advantage. Yeah. He's going to look for the inside, not able to find it, though.
Doesn't find it there. Paddock able to hold off Daly, and Hazelworth right there as well. Top two starting to make a break for it now. The gap's up to 1.4 seconds between David Porcelli and Everett Paddock. It's only about 2/10 between the race leaders as lap traffic once again going to come into play.
So far, lap traffic hasn't been that much of an issue. They've done really well to get out of the way and not really hold anybody up so far.
Yeah, for the Lotus 49s, when we run here, ooh, that one was close. We usually run between 40 and 50 cars around this track, and lap traffic, while it's constant, is not too terrible of an issue.
Daly, Paddock, Hazelworth, and Kahn all going to be together. Back to the front of the field. Porcelli looking outside towards turn one.
Whoa.
Wow. What a great battle here with 2 to go. Oh, they're bumping wheels.
Lundy concedes the position, but they're still going to have the front straightaway, and Lundy looks like he wants to go for it before they get there.
This part of the racetrack where Lundy has been so incredibly quick tonight. Porcelli trying to break the draft down the straightaway. He's going to choose to cover the inside lane. White flag is out, 1 to go. Lundy looking outside into 1. Way late
Porcelli
braking
locks
by the
up
1.
the rear.
Porcelli has to concede the spot if he's going to want to have another final chance on the attack.
Oh,
Here's
God.
his move.
Trying to take the line away. Oh, man, almost made contact there. Lundy able to hold on. Porcelli might have one last shot at this. Trouble for Alexander Wesley Hazelworth. He's back to the 8th position. But off the final corner, twin checkers go in the air, and Carter Lundy will get the win at Summit Point. Great run to second by David Porcelli. Nicholas Daly comes home 3rd to round out the podium. Wow, what a battle between Lundy and Porcelli to kick off the night's racing action here at Summit Point. Let's take a look at your full field race results. Actually, we have to hold off on that for a minute. We have a couple of cars that have not yet taken the checkered flag. So if there were any penalties that were applied, they would hit after everybody has come across the line. Still waiting on Keenan Blades, Christopher Gunn, and Marshall Crocker.
I'd just like to say that I did not, in fact, commentator's curse Morgan Khan this time. Finally! It didn't happen for once!
Yeah, you got away with one, James. Kind of in blind squirrel finding a nut territory, but any win's a good win, right? Carter Lundy getting the win over Porcelli and Daly, as we mentioned. Everett Paddock, Mobin Khan complete the top 5. 6 through 10 tonight, Mike Holler, Brian Labarge, Alexander Wesley Hazelworth, Rod Eskew, and Joao Rafael Silva Lopez. 11 through 20 tonight, Kyle Cushman, Nieje Camargo, Richard Holt, Carl Giangrande, Keenan Blades to the 15th position. Christopher Gunn, Marshall Crocker, Joseph Berger, Aaron Saliba, and Robert Holmes back through 20th. Only 2 cars on the third page of the leaderboard. Those will belong to Thomas Bricky and Benjamin Depew. Kind of what he thought of tonight's race, I would imagine. Depew. Nothing? All right.
Right over our heads.
It's best if we don't acknowledge that one.
Yes, that is exactly right. Oh my goodness. Let's get ready for our Victory Lane interviews here. Let's see. We'll pick up. Let's see. We'll start things off with Nicholas Daly, our third place finisher here this evening. And I'll tell you what, Nicholas, nice run there. Fantastic battles between, at one point, about 6 of you for the race lead, and then a really nice fight there with Everett and Mobin late in the race as well.
Yeah, man, Everett was driving super well. It's a shame he caught the lap traffic there at a really bad time. I was able to get a run on him and pass him into that final turn. And then, yeah, I think he started battling with the guys behind, so I was able to pull out a bit of a gap and finished into a podium. So, yeah, super happy about that.
Yeah, and talk us through a little bit of that, because it seemed like lap traffic was mostly able to get out of the way, and that's really important for letting you guys actually race your way through this, as opposed to kind of some of the stuff where you feel like you have to tap dance around them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, with this track being so narrow, it's barely wide enough for 2 cars. So, yeah, lap traffic needs to have drive a bit heads up and kind of pull off to the side and let everyone by, because it's pretty tough to drive around. But yeah, most people did pretty well. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations on the podium here tonight. And before we let you go, make sure you get all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, shout out as always to Downforce Racing for having a pretty good setup. Is another setup I used from a previous season. And shout out to you guys for putting on an awesome broadcast. And thanks to all the viewers for watching.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here in the booth for a minute. And now let's bring in a guy who I would imagine is probably pretty disappointed with a second-place finish here tonight. But David Porcelli, that car was really quick and ultimately some really hard battling with you and Carter there.
Oh, yeah, I think I'd have to be like the opposite of a sportsman to be disappointed after a battle like that. It was nice. Unfortunately, wasn't able to secure all the championship points that were available this evening, but I've got a head start on him heading into this week. So, yeah, feel like I could have challenged a little bit harder down into that keyhole section, but really, really satisfied with the racing that we put on, and I'm happy with my performance.
At one point, you guys made contact and you were flat sideways. Absolute pucker factor Zulu moment on that one. How did you keep the car in a straight line and then not really lose anything in the battle either?
Yeah, I'm really glad that I didn't get any damage there. Not sure what happened. I don't know if I got sideways, then we had our contact, or if we had our contact, then I got sideways. But yeah, just some really good racing. He came down to sort of tighten up my radius, which it looks like it induced some oversteer and did its job. So yeah, some really, really neat tricks from both sides there through the entire race, and I'm looking forward to this one that lies ahead of us.
Yeah, looking forward to the D-Class race for sure. And congratulations on the podium tonight, brother. Before we let you go, make sure you get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous taken care of, too.
Absolutely. Shout out to Satellite Racing, Racecraft 1 Indianapolis. Thanks to Team Watson Racing and National Racing Network for putting on an awesome broadcast every week, and I hope to see you guys in the booth in another 45 minutes.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out and check in with us here for a minute. And still waiting. We're going to give it a moment here to see if we get Carter Lundy into the booth so we can do a proper winners interview as well. But, man, I'll tell you what here, boys. We got a great show out of these guys, the U.S. open wheel C-Class cars. And Patrick, I don't think we're quite done with the fireworks yet either.
No, as we're starting to approach a 4th of July weekend, these fireworks are getting better and better. Fantastic racing here tonight so far, and we saw some fantastic shows on Monday night and last night, so I can't wait to see the final race of the week.
Yeah, it's going to be a barn burner for sure. And James, some of the stuff that we saw out of these C-Class cars, you can't necessarily get away with in the D-Class cars, between the little bit less downforce, the significant decrease in horsepower. We're going to see these guys maybe a little bit more tightly packed up unless there's a mistake somewhere.
Yeah, and that's going to be insane because, like, we already saw them, like, almost 6 wide for the lead, so I don't know if we could realistically handle them being even closer than they were.
Yeah, well, I guess we will find out here in just a little bit. But first, it is time for us to take a very quick commercial break. We will be back in about 10 minutes or so. So I guess it's not that quick of a commercial break unless you're watching a Fox NASCAR broadcast. But, yeah, we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so. Wait, we will not be going away yet. Let's bring up our race winner into the booth, Mr. Carter Lundy. And Carter, talk to us a little bit here. First off, congratulations. An incredible battle once again with David Porcelli. You two are picking up right where you left off last season.
Yeah, definitely. It was unfortunate that I had to miss the first week. So I'll try making as many races this season as we can. It was a great race as usual. We had respect between each other. We left enough room, and we raced really hard.
Yeah, and now you look ahead a little bit to the D-Class race here. I'm not even sure if you're going to run it, but that kind of has a totally different feel to it as well, because the cars are different, and quite frankly, the way you have to drive them even is pretty different.
Yeah, there's a lot more understeer, and you have to be a lot more sensitive on the brakes. In the Indy Pro, you can really use all the strength in your leg to smash the brake pedal, but in the USF, you have to be a lot more gentle and just be really smooth on the brakes, and so you can't really do a crazy dive bomb. You got to be calculated. You got to be smooth. So it's definitely a little bit different to race.
Well, congratulations on a very, very nice victory tonight. This one was a hell of a show you guys put on. Before we let you go, make sure you do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous here as well.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for coming back, doing another season with us. Thanks to everybody who donated to keep the streams going, and yeah, thanks to Nagisa and Team Watson Racing for the Indy Pro setups, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us up here in the booth. And as we mentioned, now since we got all the 3 podium finishers taken care of here for the Victory Lane interviews, we are going to step away here for just a couple of minutes. The commercials will run now. They'll come right back on at 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. As soon as we're loaded into the server, you guys will be there right with us. Don't go anywhere. You are watching the U.S. Open Wheel Championship doubleheader right here on the National Racing Network.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the U.S. Open Wheel Championship. Tonight it is the stars and cars of the USF2000 Championship coming to you from Summit Point Motorsports Park. Once again, really looking forward to a good race here. Is just finishing up a big show in the C-Class race. Now, again, as we mentioned, the stars and cars of USF2000 taking on Summit Point Raceway. Once again, my name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth, as always, by Mr. James Watson and Mr. Patrick Byrne. Thank you very much to Connor Baldwin for some absolutely fantastic work on the cameras here at Summit Point. And we'll bring the graphic up to refresh things. But, James, let's talk a little bit here more about the cars in this one. We mentioned it during the C-Class race, 100 less horsepower, a little bit less downforce. It really is going to be a challenge for these drivers here this evening.
It really is, especially with the off-throttle oversteer that you get from the open differential. Like it's a lot more noticeable around here, in my opinion, with the types of corners you have to deal with. So having to factor that with being in a much bigger pack with the lower horsepower, it's going to be interesting, especially since we already saw them go almost 6 wide at one point earlier tonight.
And James, did you happen to have some dental surgery during the commercial break? It sounds like your mouth is full of cotton balls.
It sounds like he's in a submarine.
Oh my God.
Nope, I have not changed the thing.
Oh, that's hilarious. Following along with Carter Lundy. 14 cars on the entry list for this, well, in this split anyway. 41 was the total. Right now, only Carter Bourassa is not on the racetrack for a qualification attempt. Man, big wiggle there from Lundy. And James, that's what you talked about, the difference in the differential. And Patrick, how do you have to change the thought process of how you drive these cars? Because I know in the past we've talked about the fact when the D-Class race ran first, it was easier to go from D-Class to C-Class than the other way around.
Yeah, it's very difficult to try and drive the D-Class car after driving the C-Class car. The C-Class car, it's not on rails, but you're a lot faster, you're a lot harder into all the corners, you can really get on the power earlier. These things, they just want to slide around. It's almost like you hop out of a race car and you're hopping back in your street car, it almost feels like, with the way these things slide.
This is a car that I was never able to wrap my head around. I could get the C-Class car, okay, maybe it was the additional downforce, whatever, but the D-Class cars were just, to me, permanently twitchy and impossible to control.
Yeah, I honestly prefer this car over the PM18. It is a lot more fun to drive. It's a lot more momentum car. And I've always preferred an open differential to a limited slip differential. I don't know if it's just because I'm a weirdo. Most people prefer a limited slip, but the challenge of trying to get all 175 horsepower onto the road with those tiny little Cooper radials it's kind of fun.
Yeah, Carter Lundy goes quick time at the completion of lap number 1 minute 8.515. So about 5 seconds a lap slower than what we saw out of the Indy Pro cars. Nicholas Daly, second quick. Richard Holt, Indy Cassie, Brian Labarge, Rod Eskew, and Kenji Yamamoto are the 7 cars that have turned laps here in qualifications thus far. Everybody is now out on the racetrack. Lundy coming around to complete lap number 2. Keeps all 4 on the tarmac. He will come under the checkered flag. Lap number 2 will be, let's see, 1 minute 8.105 and a new quick time. Half a second up on Nicholas Daly as it stands. Daly comes across the line. Shaves about a quarter of a second out of it, but he will remain second quick. Let's pick up David Porcelli, currently 9th quick at a 109.222 after lap number 1. Little bit wide at the exit of the final corner. We'll see if the lap will score. And it does. Good enough for third quick. 108.476. Carter Barassa just completing his first lap in the Dunkin' Donuts, number 14. Looks like we still have Nico Barras, Barassa, and Franco Carnero to complete their qualification runs. Brian Labarge only scoring 1 lap, 1 minute 8.985, good enough for 9th quick on the grid. And this tight section here, James, in the PM18, you watch these guys kind of push it and slide the car around a little bit.
Whoa.
Wow.
You mean like that?
Yeah, well, no more so than that, but wow.
I don't know.
Good
I don't
Lord.
think you can fly more than that.
He's practically
Woo.
lost in the woods.
Yeah, it's not hard to get lost in this forest.
It's very counterintuitive. In the PM18, you can kind of save the car by coming off of the throttle, and the car will want to straighten back out thanks to that limited slip differential. In these things with the open diff, it's counterintuitive, but you want to stay on the power and just spin that inside wheel and let the outside wheel kind of sit in neutral, really. And that'll straighten the car back out. If you let all the way off, you're going around.
Yeah, and that's why I tend to not drive this car as much, because that counterintuitive, like you said, it's counterintuitive, so I just can't, it doesn't come naturally to me, so I just lose so much time because I just can't drive the car like that.
Yeah, like I said, I find it very difficult to drive this car as well, but 14 laps will be the race distance tonight. Let's take a look at the starting grid. On the front row will be Carter Lundy. Well, let's see. Hold on here. I don't think these are the right paint schemes. Let's refresh everything and see what
Or the right car.
Yeah, there we go. Now we've got the right paint schemes. On the front row will be Carter Lundy lining up alongside of Nicholas Daly. Good Lord. Row number 2, David Porcelli alongside of Rod Eskew. Row 3 will have Carl Lemcole besides Kenji Yamamoto. A very, I'll say, late 80s McLaren-esque paint scheme, but it's not quite papaya orange. Or the appropriate red.
Wait, the McLaren schemes were orange?
Yeah, no, they weren't the papaya orange, but they were definitely more orange than red. That way
Yeah, I
they showed
think
up
that's
on
just,
camera as red.
Yeah, I think they're just a basic iRacing scheme, that one.
Yes. Richard Holt and Nico Barris on row number 4. Row 5 will be Indy Cassie alongside of Brian Labarge. Very Danica Patrick-esque theme there for Indy Cassie on the 9.
Underglow?
Actually, they all do. But yes, that one is like patently obvious. Looks pretty cool.
Fast and Furious right there.
Franco Carnero and Russ Addy on row number 6. That's almost a Benetton car, early Benetton car.
That's what I'm thinking.
Carter Barassa and Mike Holler on row number 7. That will make up our 14-car grid for the race here this evening. Carter Lundy got a great jump to start the Indy Pro 2000 race. We'll see if he's going to be able to do the same thing again. There we go. Let's see. Let's go on board with Carter Lundy. He has a thing for giving us a look inside of the pace car.
Pace car shooting flames tonight. That Porsche, I don't know who tuned that thing, but I want to meet him, because if you're going to hop up a pace car like that, that's freaking awesome.
Hey, you got to be able to keep up the speed ahead of these open wheel beasts.
Nothing is cooler than when you see the pace car drift.
I believe that pace car makes 6 times the horsepower of these so-called open wheel beasts.
That is correct. Fields off, well, into and through the final corner. When does Carter Lundy decide to go? He's again going to jump on the loud pedal early. Lundy grabs the early advantage over Porcelli and Daly as they head down towards turn 1. Take a look from the overhead. A little bit of a lockup there from Rod Eskew. I think everybody's going to be safe through turn 1.
Porcelli already on the attack on Lundy.
I have a feeling are these guys going to do it again. This is one of those places I can see that drag race to the line panning out. Oh, man. That sounded like big contact for somebody there. Maybe Carter Lundy bouncing off the curbs.
I believe he's just doing his best Marco Andretti impression.
Porcelli's going to have a good run into the final corner. Lundy maybe gives up a little bit of line to discourage the draft, but it's not going to work. Porcelli pulls out at the start-finish line. Lundy by less than a car length. Wow, Lundy really dives it in deep into turn 1 there. Porcelli not able to capitalize. Now, James, for a lot of these drivers, they'll run the 8 o'clock D-Class race as a little bit of a warm-up before running the C-Class race in the 9 o'clock hour. Does that have any transitional benefit to the drivers in having already turned laps in this car at this track tonight?
Oh, definitely. Anytime you can get seat time is huge, even with immensely experienced aliens that we're watching right now. The more seat time, the more experience you can get, the better.
Well, Carter Lundy's going to lead lap number 2. Will not have the fastest lap of the race, though. That's going to belong to Carl Lemkool, 1:08.455. Top 4 still pretty tightly bunched together. Also a good fight between Rod Eskew, Richard Holt, and Indy Cassie. That's going to be for the 5th position. Oh, big slide from Lundy. I'll tell you what, though, he almost made speed with that. And that's something that we heard Joseph Newgarden speak about in the past, is that these cars, especially these D-Class cars, you almost have to drive them like go-karts and kind of get them in the real world. You kind of have to drive them like go-karts and get them sideways and use the slip angles to help steer the car. That's just something that doesn't really happen a lot in the iRacing platform.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Patrick said during the Indy Pro race, you know. Well, the better you can drive these cars sideways, you know, they don't make the same amount of downforces a lot of the other open wheel cars on the service. So if you can learn how to be comfortable with getting these cars sideways and just use that to your advantage, you can make up some unreal speed.
Lundy overshot turn 1 a little bit. That allowed David Porcelli to come through and take the race lead, but Lundy going right back on the attack. Already coming around to put lap number 5 up onto the scoreboard. Porcelli tries to break the draft. He commits inside. Now he's going to try that fade once again. Lundy really had to dive it into the corner. That car got sideways. He may lose second to Nicholas Daly.
Yeah, Nicholas was so thinking about making it 3Y into 1. He'll probably save that for later.
I guess, Patrick, a little bit of, if you think you got it, try it, but don't show your hand, if that makes sense. It's almost like playing poker. Early in a tournament, you might get a great hand. You get your pocket aces or your ace king or whatever. You're not going to go crazy on the bets playing that hand because you don't want to tip people off for later in the event.
Yeah, you kind of have to sit and just wait. You know you've got the better hand, but you got to wait for someone to screw up, fold when they shouldn't, and go and pass them.
Porcelli again trying to squeeze on Lundy to turn number 1. Lundy's again going to back out. Oh, gets a good run out of 2 though. Won't have the positioning into the left-hander. Again, Lundy's trying the outside of the racetrack. Not able to get the nose in, back to the switchback left. One of the things I love about calling these races is the fact that the more you watch them, you're able to learn and pick up not just tendencies of drivers, but how they will make their moves. It really is insightful to somebody of a lower skill level to say, you kind of have those light bulb moments like, I get it.
Whoa,
wow,
maybe
big
not that.
lockup. Big lockup for Porcelli. Lundy able to come back through to the race lead.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun, and especially when you get that light bulb moment like you're saying, where something just clicks and all of a sudden you go a tenth faster for that lap, and then you're consistently a tenth faster, and then you find another tenth, and you're like, holy crap, I'm figuring this car out.
It's still frustrating to you set a lap that you think was a great lap and you go, God, I'm still 3/4 of a second off the pace.
Yeah.
I don't know where you find seconds, let alone tenths and hundredths like these guys find. Oh, man, Porcelli with a big dive into one. Lundy has absolutely nothing there to defend either. Cross flags were up last time by. 7 laps complete, 7 laps remaining here at Summit Point on week number 2 of the U.S. Open Wheel Championship. Oh, man. Lundy all over the place. Trying to get the move made. Oh, Porcelli tries to cross
here
him
it
up. Here's Daly outside.
Oh.
Race stewards. What is your vote there, boys? Was it a block? And should we care?
It was awesome. Who cares if it was a block? But I guess I've got no room to talk, so
Yeah,
don't worry
right.
about me.
The man who invented the bizzle.
Yeah, but the Bizzle wasn't a block. It was a preemptive maneuver, and Connor just drove into my left rear. We'll go over this after the show.
Right.
That would make the draft-breaking Dragon a Bizzle. It's a preemptive maneuver.
No.
So here,
So
okay, in my mind, David Porcelli made his move and committed to the inside. Look how much he fades towards the outside of the racetrack, and Lundy's just not going to let him get away with it that time. Oh, but Lundy overshoots the corner. Daly tries to come through.
Oh, boy. Oh.
Gosh, this
How
is
did they
so
win?
good. Daly able to hold on to second. But now he's going to have to go to work, not only defending on Carter Lundy, but trying to get caught back up to David Porcelli.
I just can't believe they went side by side through turn 3. Rarely do you see that and see both cars live to tail the tail.
I'll tell you what, it's bringing Indy Cassie up into the party as well here. She's up to the 5th position as Lundy's practically on the grass. Oh my goodness, what a move by Carter Lundy. Gosh, there's so much slip angle in that car for Lundy.
Yeah, he is absolutely wheeling this thing tonight.
Yeah, this is business as usual for him.
I don't understand how you feel that as a driver, though. To me, all I feel is loose and spinning. I don't feel slip angle. It's that lack of seat of the pants feel, I guess, is what really catches me out.
Well, if you used hardware that was younger than the average age of people on board the Titanic, you might be able to have that sensation.
Yeah, Chris, I think your problem is the fact that your equipment is older than, like, everyone in the field right now.
Yes. Oh, man, maybe a little bit of a quick stab on the brakes there by Lundy. Trying to get quickly back to the throttle, and he'll get the job done. Down to 3 to go. 2.5 laps to go now. Lundy is right there. So's Indy Cassie. It's a 5-car fight for the win. They'll see the popsicle sticks. 2 to go here at Summit Point for week 2 of the U.S. Open Wheel doubleheader. Lundy again pops out. Gosh, they are so tight there. Porcelli really dives it deep into one, almost making contact with Lundy.
Oh,
Lundy, great run off of 2. Oh, they almost touch.
oh my God.
They're all running right side tires in that sand trap.
Indy Cassie having a little bit of a look on Carl Lemkool. That's the fight for 4th. Could be a podium spot, depending on how well behaved Porcelli and Lundy are here over the next lap and a half. There's been a lot of give in this race between Porcelli and Lundy. All take now. White flag goes in the air. 1 lap to go here at Summit Point. Oh, Porcelli tries to fade early. Could that open the door inside for Daly? Oh, the Porcelli slides wide. Lundy through to the lead. Oh, and Porcelli hip checks Lemkool. That was full-on right-side romance.
Daly into the grass. That might give Porcelli second place back. He's going to have to work for it, though.
Good Lord, that was non-consensual right-side romance.
How did Carl get the car back on the track? How is he even still going?
Yes. That's it. Just yes. Through the final corner, twin checkers will go in the air. Carter Lundy doubles up and gets another win at Summit Point.
Wow.
Nicholas Daly holds on for 2nd, David Porcelli to 3rd, and Lundy's going camping.
I'm not sure I'd be very comfortable trying to sleep in one of these race cars, but after working that hard for that race win, I might be ready for a nap too.
Man alive, what a finish. Now, I am only going to ask the question, but was the hip check by Porcelli on Carl Lemkool something that iRacing would consider protestable?
I don't think so. I think it was side-by-side racing, and David tried to take a wider arc in, and Carl just happened to be there.
Yeah, that was purely racing incident.
Well, let's take... Oh.
He does move way up. Yeah, looking at it again. If you look at that incident alone and don't provide context, yes, it's protestable. But if you watch the whole broadcast and watch how hard these guys are racing the entire race from flag to flag, yeah, it's just racing.
Yeah, it was a fantastic show, and Let's take a look at the race results here. Carter Lundy by a third of a second over Nicholas Daly. David Porcelli holds on to come home third. Carl Lemkuhl and Indy Cassie complete the top 5. Everybody else 5 or more seconds back. It really was an incredible battle there inside the top 5. 6 through 10 tonight, Richard Holt, Rod Eskew, Franco Carnero, Nico Barris, and Russ Addy to complete the top 10. Back through the 14th position, Kenji Yamamoto, Mike Holler, Brian Labarge, and Carter Barassa. We'll get ready, fire things up here for the Victory Lane interviews, and oh my goodness, what a show we got here tonight. Let's hit the button and, oops. Well, no, hit the wrong button, knucklehead. There it is. Let's bring up our race winner tonight, Carter Lundy. I'll tell you what, Carter. Man, just an incredible battle that you had there with David.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any other way to put it. It was a really good battle. Nicholas was in the mix as well. It got close at some times, and just on the limit, and unfortunately for him, just into that turn 1 on the last lap, he just missed his braking point a little bit, or locked up and lost the car. So I had it pretty easy from there.
Well, it seemed like that was something that everybody was doing a little bit of. Is that just a matter of the adjustment from the Indy Pro car to the USF, that the braking points are different, and if you overcook it a little in these cars, you missed it by a lot?
Yeah, well, I don't think the braking points themselves are too much different, but it's the way you need to brake. And this, when you want to brake late, you really got to be careful, because you want to smash the brake pedal, you want to go as late as you can, but you have to be smooth, you have to be careful. So even when you brake late, you still have to just do the same thing you do with the brakes and just go a little bit deeper. So maybe he just broke too late or locked up, but just an unfortunate mistake for him.
Well, it was a great run for you tonight here. Obviously, a ton of fun to pick up the double here in terms of the W's. What do you think as we start to look ahead on the schedule a little bit here? Pulling up where we are next week real quickly, but heading off to the Red Bull Ring. We're going to a Tilkedrome over in Austria. I don't know, could be more different. Yeah, a little bit.
It'll be a big slipstream, big pack race.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing the show you guys put on next week. Once again, an incredible show between you and David. Congratulations on the pair of victories tonight. And before we let you go, make sure you do all the sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yep, same as before. Thanks to all you guys for doing the broadcast, putting it on the season, and thanks for doing it tonight. And I'll be watching that one back later. And thanks to David and to everybody else, Nicholas, for giving us a good show tonight.
All right, brother. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us in the booth for a moment. And now it is time to talk to our second place finisher. We'll bring Nicholas Daly up into the booth with us. And, man, I'll tell you what, you had a couple of times it looked like you were going to go 3 wide. You knew eventually one of these guys was going to make a mistake, and you were right there to capitalize when it happened.
Yeah, man, we're coming up to the last lap, but I was like, man, we're running out of opportunities. So then, got lucky there. David went a little bit wide, and I was able to cut underneath him, and then with the draft from Carter in front of me, it was just enough to get ahead of him. So yeah, that was great. I'm super happy to be on the podium again.
Yeah, makes it a couple of appearances here on the podium tonight, and I would say, I mean, we talk about confidence boosts and those sorts of things, but these kinds of nights where you're up front and battling that hard with these guys, that's got to be big. For a long time, you were the guy who was second to Ted Burns on this team. I don't know that that's necessarily the case anymore. You could be the 1A driver here on this Downforce Racing team.
Yeah, let's see. I guess we got to get Ted back out here and do some races, and we can find out.
Yeah, tell him to quit slacking off and doing the real world job and race cars thing. But, man, congratulations on the podiums here tonight. And before we let you go, get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in again.
Yeah, shout out to Downforce Racing. Shout out to National Racing Network for putting on a great broadcast every week. And thank you to all the viewers for watching.
Yeah, well, thank you much. We appreciate the kind words from you, sir. And now it's time to talk to our third place finisher tonight, Mr. David Porcelli. And man, you had an eventful final lap around this place. Talk us through it, and quite frankly, talk us through the whole race, because there was a lot going on there. It seemed like you and Carter were really, really close on outright pace.
Yeah, I'm really actually quite gutted. It's tough to remain as strong of a sportsman as I try and be, as I was in the last race, but this one I definitely had him beat through the brake zone in turn one, and I just got overzealous coming off of the brake, and I thought he was going to try and hold the outside, as he had tried to do through the entire race. He had tried the over-under once before. I was able to identify it and get the car slowed and just sort of park it in front of him. That's exactly what I should have done on this lap. Unfortunately, like I said, just little bit of loss of awareness, light excitement, and really trying to get through the corner as fast as I could instead of in front. And so that just resulted in me asking too much of the car. I lost it on exit, and so Nicholas got the position. Not disappointed in where I chose to brake. Just disappointed in what I chose to do with the car, because I really had it slowed down. I was able to hold my line. I tried to carry too much speed through that apex after challenging as hard as I did in that brake zone. So really, really thrilled with the races that we were able to put on this evening, and just hoping I can get that last bit right next week.
Well, yeah, we're looking forward to seeing it. It was interesting to hear you mention that you had identified the crossover attempt that was coming earlier in the race. Without giving away state secrets, what is it that allows you to pick that up in your rearview mirrors? That's not something you can see in the relative. It's not even necessarily something you can feel. That has to be something that is entirely visual, I would think.
Yeah, it is visual. You get some audio cues. Luckily, I run a VR headset, so there's a little bit of a VR advertisement here. But honestly, you listen to his downshifts. You pay attention to whether or not you listen to that last gear. This is all aside from the visual that's provided in your periphery. You listen to his last gear, and if you hear those rears really coming down, you hear those revs come down, you know he's setting up for an exit. You hear him try and keep him up, you know he's trying to maintain a little bit of mid-corner speed, and I have no problem giving away state secrets. You guys want to come challenge? Come get it. This series is awesome. I love the racing here. More the merrier. Yeah, I didn't identify it this time, and I guess I was a little bit too focused on that apex.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, fantastic explanation of that. I didn't think we were going to get that much detail out of you, but I appreciate it, because it's something I'm going to learn from, that's for sure. Congratulations, 2 podiums tonight here in the U.S. Open Wheel doubleheader. And before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous one more time.
Shout out to Team Watson Racing. Thanks to Satellite Racing and Racecraft One Indianapolis. Thanks to National Racing Network for an awesome broadcast. Thanks to Carter for an awesome 2 races this week. I hope to see you guys next week. Yeah, really looking forward to the season, and the battles so far have just been phenomenal. So more to come.
Yes, they have. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us. And James, I'm a little bit flabbergasted here. I did not see David Porcelli literally giving away the state secrets on how you pick up that move from an opponent, because that's something that takes a lot of years and a lot of time to develop that sense.
Yeah, that's explains a lot why I never thought to pay attention to any of that. But yeah, it's yeah, I don't think we were expecting any of that, but I guess it's par for the course today with all the craziness we saw on track.
Yeah, and Patrick, that even gets into the really nitty-gritty of how you actually set up the sim, because if your car's audio, your car's tires are too loud, you won't be able to hear what those other people are doing. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's almost like the hidden world of dampers in IndyCar, that's the only thing you can adjust on. In a fixed setup series like the D-Class, that's part of that setting the car up, is how you set the sim up as well.
Yeah, your sound and spatial awareness comes completely from your sound. race on a single monitor that I got for free from my buddy. I'm pretty sure this it's a television screen. Really, latency on this thing is horrible. It's probably 15 years old at this point. But my headset probably costs more than all of my peripherals other than my steering wheel, obviously, and it is huge just being able to hear and pinpoint wherever a car is around you and exactly what they're doing. You could hear the brake squeal, hear the tire squeal, hear exactly when they're downshifting, if they're trying to get the jump on you when they get on the throttle, and all of that helps you as a driver when you're trying to defend a position or try and advance a position as well.
Yeah, it was a lot to learn from tonight here. A fantastic show, as always, by the stars and cars of the U.S. Open Wheel Championships. Coming up next week, we'll be back Monday night, 9:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, with the iRacing Silver Crown Cup, followed up on Wednesday by the Sim Racers Club Premier Series, heading off for the Firecracker 200 at the Daytona International Speedway. And then we're right back here again next Thursday night for another night of U.S. Open Wheel doubleheader action. With that, time for us to get the heck on out of here. As always, a fantastic show. Thank you very much to Patrick Byrne and James Watson for their help in the booth, and for everybody else here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen. My name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.